Every All Hallows Eve, I'm visited by a creature. This demon plagues my every step, dogs my every move. Even death is no escape. But now, I think I've found a solution. A way out.
We watched a movie today.
Hellraiser 4, Bloodline.
Bloodline.
All the blood. Well, there were lines of blood drawn in one scene.
And we followed a family, which is known as a
bloodline.
So truth in advertising.
And a lot of them bled, so you know they were probably bleeding in lines as well.
Like Inception.
Yeah, levels of bloodline.
All right, so
we have to find some way to enjoy ourselves here.
Look, we tried to keep about a half hour on this, give or take. This might be hard.
There's not a whole lot that happened.
I will go over what happened, though.
Okay, so, 30 seconds?
No.
10.
This one's a little bit... It's here's the thing. Not a lot happened, but a lot of different places happened. And
fair.
That's enough to go through.
That's fair.
So, this is... I would want to preface the last movie, because... For those of just joining us, this is our spooktacular.
Yay.
We're going through all the Hellraiser films backwards.
Because
last time we did Judgment, which was the most recent one, but it wasn't released when we started, so we're now picking back up. We did Inferno the time before that.
We're not completely consistent.
Never. So
we try.
This one is the last film, but the first one that we're doing, that had any major involvement from Clive Barker, the originator.
Yeah, it was the last of the original, quadrology?
Yeah.
Is like
tetralogy.
Tetralogy was 3, I thought.
No, that's trilogy.
Oh,
Tetra is 4.
Oh, Tetra. Duh, yeah.
Anyway, so this one is technically the end of the original saga, if you want to look at it that way, but we watched it first, and it kind of works in that way too, though there are some spoilers for us going ahead. So, this movie opens up in a framing device of the future. How far in the future? Space age 2192. There is a guy who is got the Lamachant, the Lamar configuration. Lament configuration. That's the name of it. The Lament configuration. And it is, he's opening up with basically like a drone, like a robot. And the robot explodes, and then he is captured by police, space cops.
Space cops, which I don't understand why the space cops are even there.
Because
plot.
Yeah, why not? It didn't seem like there was anything else going on in space, so maybe you're not allowed in space, and he just was like...
No space for you!
He just got up there. So he starts...
How'd you build your space station? You know, there's a couple of questions I have.
He just starts recounting the story of the box, pretty much, and how his great-great-great-great-great-grandfather... Lamarchand, the original guy, he made the box for a wealthy aristocrat, and this aristocrat took a peasant girl, skinned her later, and then used the box to summon a demon into that body.
Yes. Which I don't understand why they had to flay her to then put her skin back on.
So that they could make the bloodline.
You hang them upside down like a deer.
Bloodline. So the demon is now in the body, and she ends the toy maker Lamachand. He ends up designing a way that would trap and kill, like totally destroy, the demons via another bigger box that uses light and stuff. But he dies before his vision is realized. He's killed by the demon named Angelique. But his wife and unborn son survive. The bloodline continues. 1996, New York City. They have changed their name from Le Merchant to Merchant. And the guy is an architect. And he has built a design based off of the drawings of his great-great-great-grandfather. And
because that's fun.
The Angelique has survived, and having found, she's immortal pretty much, and having found out that the bloodline of Le Merchant has survived, she gets the puzzle box from the base. Like, he built it into the foundation of the building. He
Yeah.
put it in cement. So she got it out. And
Which doesn't make sense, because how the fuck did it even end up there?
I don't know. But she brings out Pinhead.
I'll get to that in a second.
She brings out Pinhead, and Pinhead's like, oh, wow, so you're like the old demons. Yeah, we're all about leather and Geiger now.
You're the old school.
Yeah.
We're the nude school.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, leather, latex, and H.R. Geiger. That's what we're all about. Have you seen Alien?
Should change in 200 years. So, they end up being like, okay, so we can use the descendant of the original Toymaker guy to open the gateway completely so that all of the demons can come out. But at the same time, he's planning on using the designs from his great-grandfather to kill all the demons, so they're fighting against each other to do that. In the end, because I'm skipping about a third of the movie here, in the end, it seems like the good guy wins in that he traps Angelique and Pinhead in the box, but it's really unclear, and they're definitely not dead, so I don't know. Then we go back to the framing device, where the cop has been interrogating the great-great-great-great-great-grandson the whole time. And he's like, look, I already fucking summoned the demons. They're on the ship, and I've been talking to you for like an hour.
We are totally Event Horizoning right now.
So dead.
Dead Space is happening.
But then...
Or actually more like Doom. Dead Space are different.
Doom would be aliens on Mars. I don't think.
Yeah, but it's a portal to hell.
Oh yeah, fair enough.
Well, now it's like in the original game anyway.
Yeah. So then he's like, okay, just let me out and I can like save all this stuff. He's like, nah, we're not gonna let you out. Then like 4 cops die. He's like, okay, we're gonna let you out. He sets up the whole thing and he uses holograms to trick Pinhead, and he basically because Pinhead lives in darkness and I am pain.
And apparently this extra worldly being has no understanding of that if he's talking to a real person or not.
Yeah, but you know, holograms were really advanced in 2192, so whatever.
We will find out.
So he uses the power of the sun to like reflect into this box and do the whole light thing that his great-great-great-grandfather tried doing. And he seemingly totally kills Pinhead. They're flying back to Earth, smash cut, credits, no resolution there.
Oh my god, the CG in this movie was awful.
Wow.
I could have let some of like the space stuff go if it wasn't for that goddamn close-up they have of the robot doing the Lamar configuration, and all of it's like, this is 96, guys, so CGI technology wasn't exactly advanced enough in which that we could fully develop actual things to make it look real.
Especially not for the 4th Hellraiser.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm going to look this up real quick.
Okay. I don't know what we're talking about, so I'll continue on.
Yeah. So this is actually even worse because, all right, remember, you know how Terminator 2 and how that, even though a lot of people go back and forth, I think the effects in the movie have kind of dated a little bit. But that movie came out in 92.
Ooh.
That movie came out in 92, and I'm pretty sure that...
that was T2?
Yeah, that was T2.
Ooh.
T2 came out in 92.
No.
And T2 had... Let me see if I can find it real quick for you.
I would honestly put... Damn, that's a big budget, actually.
Yeah, that's a bigger budget. So, all right, to be fair.
Yeah, I would honestly put... If you need a sort of idea as to where this is, think super early Pixar, like pre-Toy Story Pixar, or... And this might be a little bit outside. Yeah. The final boss fight from the Spawn movie.
Fair.
I would honestly put it. It's about like N64 graphics.
Do you remember like how Reptile looks in the Mortal Kombat movie? Like it's kind of along that lines.
Yeah.
But to be fair, that is an unfair comparison between T2 because T2 had like $100 million budget and this one had like 8 or 6.
I thought it was like 10.
4. Sorry, I'm way off. But still, it's a huge difference. And like,
and
you can't compare the movies because they're on 2 different leagues.
Yeah, no. But the thing is, there wasn't a lot of CG in this. A lot of it was practical effects.
But they didn't need to use that CG. That's the weird thing about it.
Here's the thing, though. I feel like what they did, though, was that they shot certain scenes in advance. They shot like the scene of him because he was using pretty much just like VR gloves is the best way I could describe it.
Yeah.
He was using like something that controlled the drone 1-to-1. But when it came to the time that they were like showing the shots, there was really nothing that they could cut away to that wasn't the robot.
Yeah, that's fair.
So, like, if they didn't get a shot of that robot, which they blew up, mind you, so I don't think that prop was available on reshoots.
I don't know. I don't know how many times they had to do it.
So I think that they probably were just like, look, we have to do it CG.
Something.
Or at least when they saw the CG, they're like, we have no other options. There's nothing else we can cut to, unless we just get some metal poles and bang them against the cube and say, yep, that's the arms.
That's working. That's how it's doing it. I mean, it's... I always have a problem when these types of kind of low-rent horror films decide that what they want to do is take everything into space. And because they do it with everything. They did it with the Leprechaun franchise of all fucking things.
Yep.
Like, the only time I think it actually worked... which also, by saying this, it also doesn't work at all, is Jason X, which is an unbelievably terrible movie, but at the same time, though, it's unbelievably fun to watch. Right. This movie doesn't have that type of camp to it, because that's not what the Hellraiser movies are about. It's always it takes itself very seriously.
Oh, yeah. There's the whole thing of just, like, them sitting down, and, like, that's the whole thing we were having problems with Pinhead, of just like, okay, here's a guy who can destroy you. Not like he can send you back and then you wait. He can destroy you. Yeah. And you're just going to talk for a while. You're not going to kill him. You're just going to talk. It's like, no, you clearly have no agency in... And I don't You're taking yourself so seriously of like, oh, but here is why the pain is the darkness of the me and the her. And
well, it doesn't fucking make any sense why even Pinhead's around. No. Because he has no real reason to stick around. And there's some type of like this dichotomy going on between him and the princess, where like he's the new way of the way that hell is being run, and she's the old way, where like she's about seducing people into corruption, where his is just pain. Yeah. And like, okay, that's fair enough. Like, you could probably get some interesting.
It struck me as more of like
aspects out of it.
You have the sort of like brimstone, hellfire, chaos version of hell. And then you have the Cenobite dimension version of hell, where it struck me as Angelique was the old way. It was the, like, oh yeah, you just have a demon inhabit the body of a fucking virgin or whatever. Yeah. But then you have the Cenobite way, which is all structure, order, and like a fucking hierarchy of... It basically seems like in the Cenobite dimension, in Judgment, they had a literal fucking accountant. Yeah. That should tell you everything you need to know about how this pretty much works.
Yeah, and then also, like, dude... Maybe I don't know, because like as I've said before in previous episodes, like I've seen the first Hellraiser film, and I've seen like a part of like the second and third one, like some clips and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But like I have a limited understanding of the canon of what happens with the lore with this, because also I read Hellbound Heart, the original short story that this was based on. Don't remember any of it, so don't ask me about that. But still, at the same time, though, I did not get like. You didn't get a whole lot of these little extra elements. I mean, we were talking about that throughout the video. Throughout the movie, that it's cosmic horror. Yeah. So it's got that element of like science fiction, alternative reality stuff, where you're given just enough information for you to be curious, and you're left with enough like loose ends to be like, what's the reality of this type of stuff? Mm-hmm. And the funny thing is, because we've been able to watch this movie in reverse. Yeah. Nothing has ever really kind of gotten past this point, except for like Judgment, but that's not considered canon, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, no, the biggest... It's weird because there was like that half reboot that I think we did first, honestly.
Was it Revelations?
Yeah, I think that was it. That was like a half reboot.
That one I know is not official at all. Like that one was kind of done like without the rights, I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Whatever is canon really comes down to, do people like it? Yeah. And that's really, like, if people liked Judgment, it was going to be canon.
Well, it's like, what was it? The Hellraiser, was it the video game one? Hellworld, yeah. It's like that one wasn't even at all designed to be part, and actually is inconsequential. That's the thing, it was, and I guess this is...
I find it funny that...
I don't even find it with this movie, because from what I understand, that the first 3 films all follow the same protagonist.
That would make sense.
And whatnot. And then the 4th one has nothing whatsoever to do with her.
It's following the Le Marchand family.
And I get it. I get it.
Okay, from my perspective here, this
it just feels like such a dramatic shift.
Yeah, because this one it is literally the beginning and the end.
Yeah.
Here is how the puzzle box was made.
It's basically filling in all the parts.
The creation of it. And then we're showing you what by necessity is the end of the Cenobites. Which I'm really interested in the fact that they they sat out and they're like, okay, how far ahead do we need to set this where we're probably not going to be making any more movies after that? And they decided 2192.
Yeah.
They were just like, maybe 20 years we won't be making any more movies.
Because,
no.
Somebody...
2192.
Somebody is going to be... he's going to get the rights to this, and they're going to milk this for what it's worth.
Yeah.
So, they kind of thought that ahead. And honestly, I think that's fine, because it allows you to have a legitimate end to the arc, while still allowing extra entries to be added.
Yeah.
Even though
you leave a long period of time that's uncovered, and you're like, okay, new directors, new writers, fill that in.
Yeah, and of course, I don't know how many of these people are actually trying to stick to canon. The fans of the Hellraiser franchise, I don't know. The one thing that I've never really heard a lot about is people who are fans of this movie complaining that it's not 100% canon with the rest of the movies.
I mean, the one thing I saw was the fact that apparently it was previously established. I don't know in canon with the movies or if it was like side materials.
Yeah.
Le Marchand was an old toy maker. He was an old man. And he's like 20-something.
Yeah.
He's young.
I was saying this too during the movie. It kind of reminded me a little bit of the Puppet Master with like Toulouse in the beginning. But we had the Axis Rising ones, the Puppet Master ones that we did, where we got like the creation of the puppets, like from like the first movie, like some clips from that, because Dakota likes reusing his stuff. But at the same time, I kind of got that feel, and I liked that, honestly. Like, I liked them. Okay, we're actually going to do that, but you didn't need the framing device in order to make it work. Honestly, what probably would have made this a lot more interesting to me is if you just stuck with the first flashback, the earliest one, where it's built.
1800s.
Yeah, because nothing about the summoning of, what's her name again?
Angelique,
sorry. Nothing about the summoning of Angelique has anything to do with the rest of the Cenobites.
That is such a major issue.
Yeah, no, I can get it, though, that it was different back then. Some major cataclysm happened in this parallel universe. That's why things are so different.
Well, that's the one sort of thing that, like,
if we saw Pinhead, like before and after, that would be much more of an understanding. And I'm not looking for major explanations here. I'm looking for a little bit of framing that isn't literally like, I'm going to sit down and... it's not the Persona 5 thing where, every time you get a new confidant, it's like, thou art I am like, we get it. Just tell us the fucking story.
For me, okay, so something that we need to talk about, I'll lead into in a second. But the thing with Angelique that I find the most interesting is how she's super, super relevant in the first two parts.
And then completely irrelevant.
As soon as they get into the framing device, it's nope. Fuck it, completely inconsequential.
Well, she's just a henchman at that point.
Yeah, but I'm wondering why they even took and that is something we need to talk about. This movie and its production. This movie was made by a director that Matt will pull up in a second, and he went through the whole thing. He finished up production.
Kevin Yeager, or Yager, Yagher, however you pronounce that.
So he went through production, and then Miramax came in and was like, "Yo, we're doing reshoots. We're cutting 25 minutes. We're reshuffling, and we're changing a whole bunch of stuff about your story." And he said no. And so this movie...
I don't wanna.
This movie is credited as being directed by Alan Smithy.
One of the few times we've actually gotten that.
Yep, at one of the ever so popular fake names for directors, if you didn't know. So this movie is plagued with a lot of issues, and we don't know what the original story was. Well, maybe Angelique did play a much larger part in the end. Maybe... it was said that they changed up a bunch of character relationships. Maybe certain people didn't even leave.
On IMDb, they have this bit of trivia, and I don't know how legitimate this is. This is also where only we were able to find it, but it says that, Yeager's version contained much more graphic imagery, plot. He actually contained more plot, and explained everything that happened in the film. The producers disagreed and demanded Pinhead should appear sooner, despite every version of the script up until then having him appear around the 40-minute mark.
Yeah, he appeared about 20 minutes in.
Yeah, actually, he was like at the very beginning when
not counting the Flash,
and stuff like that. Yeah, when Yeager was unable to satisfy, he disowned it and never finished filming some final scenes. Joe Chappelle was brought on to finish the film. Filming new scenes from rewrites, including the narrative framing device.
Oh, so the future wasn't even a part of it.
Nah.
That explains
and it makes a lot because it makes no fucking sense of why it's there.
Yep.
And especially the last third of the movie. What Pinhead is trying to do, it's like he's just walking slowly as each person is leading him from room to room, where it's just like, are you gonna fucking do anything?
That is a major thing in this movie. It doesn't feel
he
like...
He doesn't seem to be acting like a paranatural being. He's acting like a dumb dude.
Maybe that's a problem that we ran into watching it in reverse, is that I felt that all the entries that we've already seen spend so much time focusing on the gore and the, like, literally the chains and all that sort of shit.
And they kept using the same gimmick.
But this movie, I really feel like there wasn't a huge focus on that. They had one part where there was a pair of twin security guards that stumbled across Pinhead and Angelique, and they like fused them together in like this like swirl around this pole at their heads, and they turned them into Cenobites. We see them in the future bit, but it didn't. Now I'm thinking about it, that was probably a reshot scene because those two didn't interact with anything later on, and they were used in the future framing device. So odds are they didn't even exist in the original cut of the movie.
There's so much of
but that was also like the only bit of gore. So now you're saying that he had all the graphic imagery in his cut, and they like reduced a lot of that stuff. I genuinely see it, and I'm wondering, what did they think a Hellraiser movie was? Because that's like it.
I don't know. And also it's weird because Joe Chappelle, I know the name. I'm pretty sure Joe Chappelle directed some Fringe and I think he also did an episode of Game of Thrones at least.
I mean, nothing in this...
I may be completely wrong.
Okay, so one thing we need to say, we're running to the end.
Yeah.
Here. So acting-wise, everyone was hammy.
I don't care.
They weren't great.
Like, they just were. And
of course Pinhead was fine. But
though in the beginning, like when they do the whole summoning thing and whatnot, like, oh, this is some heavy scenery chewing right here, and I actually kind of enjoyed it. It was hysterical.
Yeah, it was the guy Adam Scott, I think his name is.
Adam Scott's in it,
from Parks and Rec, Good Place.
Yeah, there's a whole little thing about that in him just being so grateful for being cast.
He was like 20 when this came out.
Yeah.
Anyway, but the one thing I wanted to bring up that you brought up was their choice of blocking and camera angles that you had some trouble with, particularly that one at the pillar.
Oh yeah,
and the one where he went to frame the picture.
Next
to it.
Like it's like they wanted a specific shot, but they did not know how to put their actors in a position realistically to make it happen. So like, there's this one shot where Angelique like sees the picture, is like. So is this? He's like, what is this? And then the artist guy comes in, slats like in front of her, and then does like this on the painting, and then he starts talking. But it's only because so they could cut back, so they can have like him like way in the foreground and her in the background, so they're both looking at the same direction. Like you had that shot. No one moves like that. Like it's like, behold the picture. It's like, but it's the same way with some of the camera movements where I'm like, wait, what the fuck is going on?
That's a major problem. I'm gonna go with final thoughts.
Yeah.
A major problem I have with this movie is I had no sense of direction. I had no sense of place. I had no sense of time, barring the general. We're in the past, present, and/or future. It was just moving from a place to a place, and it didn't feel like I had no idea what Pinhead's intentions were in the first bit. I had no idea what his intentions were in the end bit. I got what the third bit was, but I thought they were dumb, so I don't even care what his intentions were with that. And that went for every character. It was so loosely tied together that it felt like there was nothing holding it together, and it just didn't. It wasn't a good movie in a Hellraiser standpoint or just as a movie standpoint. This is rated pretty damn high, all things considered. It's about a 50% on everything, which for our standards is pretty damn high.
Yeah, for this show anyway.
So I really don't see what, it's not the worst. It's not something I'm sitting there going, ugh. But it's not, I don't even see why, because some people have to be rating it 10 stars, and I don't fucking get it.
Now, I don't know if it's people who are just like 100% like diehard stans of the series. There are plenty of people who, like, again, I'm coming from a position where I've never been a big fan of the Hellraiser movies, and none of the films that we've watched in reverse order have proven that anyway. Now, to be fair, we have watched through all the shitty ones.
Yeah.
So all the ones, like, the first
Tune in
three.
next year.
Yeah, the first three are normally considered to be the good ones. This one was more controversial. But at the same time, yeah, none of the motivations made any sense except for the earliest people. Well, not Le Machin, French dude, who totally speaks in an American accent. Everyone does, especially Adam Scott.
If Chernobyl can do it, we can do it.
Well, you know, there's good and there's bad. No, it's a point. But in the end of it all, the fact of the matter is, though, is like, Pinhead had no understand and had no reason of being there, had no motivation of being there. If there's any dichotomy between him and the princess, nothing actually ever happened between the two of them. And I don't understand what either one of them was trying to prove. In the end of it all, it just felt like you were kind of running on a hamster wheel, where you're going, they're moving from place to place, but really it's not going anywhere. And by the end of it all, I mean, you can feel that you can have some entertainment value with this. There was a couple of parts where I'm like, okay, that was pretty decent. But for the most part, this is pretty tame when it comes to everything that Hellraiser has become known for. There were the movies after this one, which are way more exploitive and way more gory and stuff like that, that are just much more entertaining than this. And the funny thing is, we're just like, let's hopefully not have a detective be the main character for this one, like every other
other movie.
Yeah, so like thankfully we didn't have that, but at the same time though, the addition of the space cops and the family of artists trying to create the anti-Lamarck configuration. You didn't need a lot of you could have stripped a lot of this out. Yeah. Honestly, you should have just kept it as the prequel portion, all in the past, with everything kind of leading up. Yeah. And that would have been a lot more interesting. Just make a prequel.
Show us how you made the first Cenobite come out.
Yeah.
That's a whole movie.
But you didn't do that. You didn't do that. The Cenobites apparently happened completely irrelevant to Angelique's involvement in the plot. So either way, that's it. This movie is honestly not worth not worth much.
Hell of a spooktacular.
Woo!
And those are our thoughts on
Hellraiser 4 Bloodlines. I gotta add the number in there.
Of course. What's wrong, Matt? You seem spooked.
I am spooked, David. I'm pretty spooked. Every year on Spooktacular, there's a demon that comes and tortures me.
Yeah, I know.
You know?
Yeah. I edit the videos. I watch them. Clearly, I've seen it.
And you've let me suffer in silence?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's good content. Spooktacular. Someone's got to get spooked. I don't want to do it, so falls on you. Okay, all right, I admit. I could probably have done things better, but maybe I can make it up to you.
How?
With this.
What the hell is that?
It's called the Lamat configuration.
You named it after me?
I did not name it after you. I did not name it. I found it.
And yet you know what it's called.
It was in an envelope or something. Look, I am trying to help you, okay? Isn't that enough?
Okay, what does it even do?
Okay, well, once it's in the proper configuration, it opens a portal to a hell-ish dimension. It might actually be hell. It's kind of unclear.
With paper?
Yeah, obviously.
Okay, how?
Okay, it's pretty finicky. But once you get it into the right order, I guess, it becomes pretty clear. So first you need to... this way, you open it up there, and then maybe like 2 or 3 more Two or three.
David? Hey, David? David? You okay, man?
Hope you like him, Benny. He's fresh.
Made possible by contributions from viewers like you. Thank you.